going on, Jeff? Remember me, the fired Amazon worker that you signed off on the smear campaign calling me not smart or articulate? Amazon is heavily invested in this genocide. They invest $7.2 billion into Project Nimbus, a project that is being used to fund and power the technology being used to surveil and target innocent Palestinians.
Welcome to Everything Is Day 2. And to our, you know, Mexican brothers out there, or I should say, hermanos, happy, happy, happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm your boy Chitty Bang, and with my co-host Chris. This way, Chris the Most High. What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, man? I'm chilling, baby. We live here on Twitch. Couple minutes late, but we had to make sure that we got the script right. We had to make sure that we got ourselves live. But
Yeah,
make sure y'all tap in with us every day, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna try to be here. But respect to us, we got families, we got artistic kids. It's tough.
yeah, for sure. We need a little bit of grace for sure, and we're gonna give y'all, and we're gonna give y'all as much content as we can. If you guys can give us the grace on being here, at, 9:15 sharp. But yeah, we're here to talk about more going on in the world. And our first topic, I wanted you to actually introduce the first topic because you brought it to my attention today. Yesterday it was the Met Gala. May the fourth be with you. And I know you had brought something to my attention this morning that I thought was interesting.
Well, realistically, I'm a Twitter junkie. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can call it X all y'all want, but Mama named it Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter. All right, so it's
Let me
it's
make
my
that a
late
topic.
night. It's my late night news. It's my early morning news when I wake up. And so I wasn't really in tune with the Met Gala. I really don't know. I'm not in that world, but fashion people and elites and they really love this time of the year. And so of course my timeline was lit with Beyonce. Beyonce graced our presence at the Met Gala
Queen.
yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
When the queen steps out,
Yo,
everybody
me,
got to hear it. Everybody got to know.
you know,
You
what I'm saying?
know,
So that led into me seeing the Sierras and the Russell Wilson. Shout
there
out to
was
Russell
some
Wilson.
the theme I heard was like art, like artwork. Like a costume art.
Like skeleton,
And yeah,
skeleton or skeleton or something like that. Like,
let
you know
me
what I'm
look. Let me
saying?
make sure so I'm not misinterpreting.
Because
But
Dochi came out there looking, whew, just take the dress off next time, girl.
yeah, I think Dolce looked incredible, man. The theme was costume art. So I'm not
Okay,
sure how
okay,
they interpreted that because I'm not in the fashion, sense. I'm not sure if it's like for
correct.
like movie costumes or theater costumes, or if it was like how can I make my whole garb a work of art in itself, which I thought that's what the Met Gala was always, but this seemed like a little bit more extravagant, almost like it was like a like it was one of those runways in France that they're doing like conceptual pieces and shit, and we got celebrities now wearing these conceptual pieces, which I thought was fucking dope.
Well, yeah. So that caught my attention. Of course, the originality, the original, kind of, um,
Yeah, your
posting
timeline
of
gets
everybody.
flooded with
Like,
everybody's different attire. Yeah,
but then once you click one video, and of course we all know how the algorithm goes. Once you click one video, you're on a ton of stuff now that just revolves around that particular subject matter. And so um, the Met Gala, I believe, was hosted by just Jeff Bezos. If that's what,
yeah.
if I'm
So
not mistaken.
Jeff Bezos, he was the biggest sponsor for it. I think he gave like over 10 million or something like that, around 10 million.
So with that being said, this Chris Smalls video that we saw at the cold open was actually the second video. If you don't mind, I am trying to pull up this video now and see if I can get my screen shared with you. Um, this is the first video that I actually saw. If can you see that right now?
Okay,
Can you see my screen?
let me go ahead and see.
All right, so this was the first video that I saw on my timeline, and it said a message for Met Gala host Jeff Bezos on his $120 million penthouse, and that was like, okay, that's eye catching. Let me see what the hell they got going
Oh, here we
on.
go.
So all right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and this was the original video that I saw that led me into Chris Moss.
Jeff Bezos, my name is Mary Hill. I am a 72-year-old warehouse worker at one of your facilities. When we struggle from paycheck to paycheck, from week to week, really angers me. Because if it weren't for every associate in every Amazon facility, he wouldn't have all those zeros behind his name. Shame on you, Jeff Bezos.
So that originally just struck me because, first of all, a 72-year-old woman having to work at him, it's a travesty in itself as we talk about where we are as a society, where we are in the world. We are, if we're fortunate enough to where we are speaking right now, someone has a grandmother, a grandfather, a living grandparent, and they whole life they have talked to you about this social security,
Well,
right? They've been paying their
yep.
quote unquote ties to the government for social security. So when they reach a certain age, which is 72, by the way, you don't have to work. And so that was the first video that I saw, and then I saw her sweater and everything, and this she's from the Carolinas, and it's Carolinas Amazon Union. And to bring it back to Chris Moss is the founder and the president of Amazon Labor Union. And
Yeah.
with that being said, he was very successful in the historic victory for workers, where they was able to unionize as unionized Amazon warehouse workers. And to this young lady's point, because she's 72 years young, they are the backbone to why Jeff Bezos is able to spend and sponsor a 10 million. Well, hold on. This is not the only extravaganza money that he
Yeah.
done spent. But didn't he spend an absorbent amount on a ring and a wedding that ended up getting flooded out and rained out in Italy or something like that?
In France, like he
Like
shut down the entire like Paris. He shut it down, and people were complaining then. So we're in a society right now where you have 75-year-old workers in an Amazon warehouse who are working paycheck to paycheck. As we know, the economy right now for working class is really pinching us, and it seems like there's no end in sight with this rise of AI, with the rise of robotics, with the all these tariffs being, impacting us with the war happening. So I do think we're not just because of that, but because genuinely over the past 30 years, I do think that wealth has been flooding more towards the top. Part of that is due to technology, but part of that is that due to that our livelihood is being squeezed dry of what we can offer as a life force to these warehouses, these corporations, these tech giants. Even us here on Twitch, it's a company that is owned by Amazon. So the whatever you do, almost the money it will funnel up somehow to this giant. And I'm not
can I
here
can
to
I
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can I interject with like just the conflict, just so everybody knows where we stand? Honestly, realistically, we are we are under a machine. We didn't want to have a Gmail. We was going to use Proton. Shout out to them.
It's true,
We,
true.
we 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 were going to spend our money and use our resources and use our equity and build our brand of from with under the thumb.
We truly
But
believe in like what's the word? What's the word? Morality being tied to where you put your dollars. But there's a better word for it. But where we put our money, where we spend our dollars, we do believe in that. But as time goes on, it gets harder and harder for people to live in this world and not how somehow have some dollar leak into something that's going into a war or a genocide or misharming a sweatshop. These things that we don't really co-sign to make our lives sustainable and make thus make the people at the
Well,
very, very rich of us even more richer and
you know,
more powerful.
it's tough. It's tough to say that we
But
don't
I
co-sign
want
because
no, no, go ahead.
go
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no. Make your
Go.
point. Make your point because it's a good. I think I don't
The,
want
the,
you to forget about it.
the reason why I'm only saying this is because the reason like we're on Twitch owned by Amazon. We can't be on YouTube without a Gmail, or if we can,
Yeah,
we have to go through loops and steps. Like you know what I'm saying? Like so, us being so we can be
TikTok was sold.
seen.
How do you get your message out? I think when it comes to social media now, X is owned by Elon Musk. So all these things that we could try to create something new, but to get the people to grab onto that is going to be a task in itself that take a lifetime probably. Um, but
Hey,
with
stay on
that
the
being
lookout for a
said,
board.
huh? Oh yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah. I don't want to even talk about that. Yeah, let's keep that hush hush. They're watching us, brother. But I think what Chris was trying to say is that we came into this well knowing that we wanted to put our money into places that do just by societies and worldwide humanity, and it's almost impossible. But at the same time, what we can do is still come here and be honest with you. We're not here to be morality police or anything like that. But what we do, we want to expound to you guys what we do stand for as men in this world who should have a voice. And as we you'll see in some of the videos we have for you today and our reactions to it. Um, we stand for free speech. We stand for free speech, and I do think that if these billionaire corporations believe in free speech as well, then they would allow us on these platforms to speak. They will allow Chris Smalls to start a union and give voice to the labor. And what's going with Chris Smalls is he's like part of the first union to kind of succeed. You know, I think that over the past year, they've been called to really after the organization to have some kind of settlement or some type of, let me read it here. Amazon workers onto business Manhattan penthouse. They plastered all that stuff. Amazon workers still strike over pandemic work conditions. Smalls then went on to lead the first successful unionization vote. It was the first successful unionization vote at Amazon warehouse in 2022. And it became one of the most prominent labor organizers in the country. So this guy, Chris Smalls, is one of the most prominent labor organizers in the country. And I gotta salute the man, because
As
he's
a,
only 37 years
in,
old.
in this modern age where
In this modern
everybody
age, oh my God. You know how hard that is when there's union busting is so easy.
everything everybody every unfortunately, the episode can be everything is compromised, everything is a monopoly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything is capitalism. You know what I mean? Like we have so many tentacles and avenues that we can go with when we talk about like where the world is, and to have somebody to stand on an ethical um an ethical ground that's paved by I work with people day in and day out. Like like again, to your point of TikTok workers, I'm sorry, Amazon workers go on TikTok to give an example of this is what my day is. They have this many routes, they have this many packages. And to be honest, I get on my wife, I get on my mom, I get on my friends, like we don't need everything from Amazon, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's and we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube right now.
Whew, man,
You
it,
know,
it,
and
it is
it's
tough right
so
now.
difficult, bro. It's so difficult to say the world is, it's so difficult to say AI is draining water resources while I actively use AI to learn how to fucking stream.
So yeah,
Like,
exactly. How we actively use AI to learn how to, make everybody aware about the dangers of AI. We're trying to, articulate best to reach most people, but we gotta use AI to then articulate how we can explain to the people that, hey, man, we should be concerned about this thing going forward. And that's because we do care and we do want a voice, and the only thing we can do in this time is to kind of use the tools that are killing this world to try to be some level of a pushback to it. So with that being said, I want
let's talk.
to.
Let's talk about the tools that we already had that they're taking away from us with the civil rights. But like,
Wait.
we
Before that, I wanted to mention the Project Nimbus situation. That
okay,
this
let's
is
go
where
ahead.
you said everything is compromised. I think what Chris Smalls also is bringing light to, which is causing this reaction, is Project Nimbus is a $1.2 billion contract signed in 2021 by the Israeli government, um, to the joint partnership of Google and Amazon. And under the deal, the two tech giants provide Israel with cloud computing infrastructure, AI tools, and learning services through Google Platform and Amazon Web Services. The contract runs for an initial 7 years with the option to extend. Officially, Google has framed this serving as serving finance, healthcare, transportation, infrastructure stuff for Israel. However, customer list includes the Israel Ministry of Defense and the IDF. These are the guys who are committing some atrocities to the Palestinians over there, and some would say committing a genocide, and also abusing their captors, which is truly sad to hear. Um, so this is why it's so contentious. You have these billionaire corporations doing deals with the whole governments at this point. So like me and you will pay monthly for services to Amazon or Chat GPT or Google Web Services or Google Drive, whatever. These governments get to use the entire capacity of these services unchecked for that 1.2 billion
But I
yearly.
do want to, I
I
do
mean,
want to say this. I do want to say shout out to the Google employees right now that are protesting Project Nimbus. Right, as of last week, there were sit-ins in New York and California, Sunnyvale, where they led by No Tech for Apartheid. Right, it's a organizing Google. It's organizing Google employees against Project Nimbus, and they have been organized since 2021.
yeah.
Employees are opposing their employers' ties to Israel, which is also facing a genocide charge, as you said, against the war on Gaza, and the International Court of Justice. This is things that are really, and you're reading yeah, you got my screen,
No, it's not your
or
screen,
you
but it's
pulled it
mine.
up.
I just wanted to show a little,
Hey,
some of the
hey,
images.
I got the same joint on. No lie, nigga.
Oh,
Let me
word.
share my screen. Yeah, let me share my screen so you can see. Cause we two pieces
No,
of the
listen, because
pie.
we're here learning the same way that y'all are. I just wanted to say because it's important that um, you understand that we're going on this journey together. So we want to make sure that we give y'all up to date what's going on for real. Because I didn't know that there were Google protesters until you just said it just now. So shout out to you.
And with that being said, though, like, and to what Chidi's point is that there's a negative connotation of being ignorant. Okay, ignorant by definition is just a lack of knowledge. It's what you do with that ignorance is then how we then cast judgment upon you. If you're willingly ignorant, if you're willingly not trying to smarten yourself up, if you're willingly not trying to pull the wool from over your from that's with over your eyes, then that's when like, all right, like you just want to live in the circumstances that's a bit that's there to you. I'm an ignorant person. I don't know everything, bro. Clearly, if I did, me and my wife and the kids and my homie would not be where we at if I had this knowledge of getting to where I want to go or knowing what I. So I'm ignorant, but what I am here to show y'all every day with my brother is that we are learning something new every day. So we're gonna bring that
So
here.
yeah,
Um,
that's
and and
the
and
goal of
and,
everything
and
is to
yeah,
enlighten, to
man.
educate. You know, so when we talk about Project Nimbus, we know what's going on with the Iran war and the impacts and how we got kind of drug into that war by Israel. We have people here at the protests saying no tech for apartheid, no profit from genocide, and this is the thing when you get to these levels of wealth, high levels of wealth, what is the responsibility of the billionaire? And that's the question this generation has to answer. What is the responsibility of the people who have the control, the power, the wealth to massively change circumstances? Now, listen, if you're giving all this AI, Google Web Services, cloud computing to a whole country that it's using that to oppress other people, do you have culpability on that? And that's why people are protesting that. If you do make the 1.2 billion from doing that, then is it right to have 76-year-old workers working paycheck to paycheck and having to fight for a living wage? These are the questions we have to answer in this generation, and we are the generation to do it. No one's going to stand up for us and say, "Hey, this is how the civil rights movement was done. You do it the same way." No, we are going to have our own movement in America to change the future as regards to human rights, as regards to civil rights, as in regards to AI and how that's going to impact all of our lives moving forward. So that's why these conversations are so impactful, so important. Um,
Now, this is the thing here. We about to have a whole bunch of whistleblowers with this. The company fired 28 people at least last week, bro, for violating Google's code of conduct and policy on harassment, discrimination, and retaliation.
okay.
9 Google
Wow.
employees were arrested at the sit-ins in the offices. Like this is about to be a real live revolt, right? And if people aren't really up on game on what a revolt is, I would just say do your Google, do your homework. Know that there is going to be someone like a Nat Turner that's about that action. And
Let's look at.
when
I
it
mean,
sparks off, it's gonna be home. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
if you look at what Chris Smalls has been able to accomplish in a short time, since 2021, and how he jumped the barricade yesterday. He got arrested. Apparently, he's held in some holding cell in Central Park here in New York. But to be quite honest, some people say they don't know where he's at. So I mean, that's also has to be monitored by us, making sure that make sure that his freedom of speech is not sniffed out because of billionaire trying to quiet a union. So I got to give the guy a lot of respect. When you talk about Nat Turner, that's the spirit of Nat Turner. It's by causing disruption. I want you to let y'all know, yeah, he jumped the barricade. Yeah, he disrupted, and put a projector on the screen, and he did it at the Met Gala funded by Jeff Bezos. And some of y'all be saying, yeah, but maybe there's other ways to go about it. No, you have to disturb. And if he didn't disturb, we wouldn't be here talking about it. And just really think about the impact of that, because while these rich folks who are all in an elite group get to dress up in costumes, which we gave it credit because it looks cool, but that decadence, that luxury, there's a dark side to the amount of wealth disparity there is, that they have the luxury of doing that while we are trying to still feed our families and trying to figure out how to pay the next rent bill, next mortgage bill, or cell phone, whatever it may be, within this economy and within this, this honestly capitalistic system. Exploiting. It's built on exploitation, I always say.